This is the Rich Dad Radio Show. The good news and bad news about money. Here's Robert Kiyosaki.
Hello. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. The good news and bad news about money. Today we have a very important show. It's about your spirit and your soul and, getting out of the insanity that we're swimming in right now. And we're talking about a special guest, Hal Elrod. He's most well known for the book Miracle Morning, and he's going to be promoting his latest movie coming out, the Miracle Morning movie. But before we begin, I want to talk to you about what you've done for our marriage here. It's long before I met Hal, if it was in Lake Tahoe or something, Kim has always been practicing Miracle Morning. She gets up and she does her routines. It's not quite your routine, but she's always studying spiritual things, and she sits in silence and meditates and looks at trees. And meanwhile, I'm sucking down the coffee and watching CNBC and going nuts. But other than that, so I go up to Lake Tahoe and I meet this guy, Hal Elrod, and he tells me about this book called Miracle Morning. So your book was just fantastic because it translated what Kim does naturally every morning, which I wasn't doing. And if you can understand that, was that my miracle morning was if I didn't have a cardiac going out the door. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, but now your miracle morning is like you're on it every single morning. You've been doing this for how many years? Many years.
So I want to thank Hal, for his book Miracle Morning because I've lost probably, I don't know how much weight I've lost, but my pants fit. And then my health has gone up. Blood pressure's come down. Diabetes, and so it's
you're
really
a little bit calmer. You're a little bit calmer.
Not much.
You catch yourself more often than you used to.
It's only one cup of coffee, and then I still check the markets and all that stuff. But I do practice what Kim does. We read a spiritual book every morning a little bit. I listen to them, books on tape like Tali and all that. And you like
yeah, every morning I've got like 6 different spiritual books. I read from one of them every morning, and my goal is that each day what I read, then I do my best to put that into practice for the day. Yeah, I do some journaling. Sometimes I meditate. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I would say being married to Robert, Kim, requires a miracle morning. That's just my guess.
How'd you know that, Hal? How'd you know that?
So anyway, Miracle Morning translated between Kim's morning and my morning. I still like my morning. It's high drama, high stress, high tension, but I do take the time because, as you say, it's that first hour. That first morning, that first hour in the morning that sets up your day. And what happens is after 4 cups of coffee, sometimes 5, I was wired, man. And it was killing me. It really was killing me. But anyway, Hal, tell us.
Welcome to the show, Hal. Yeah, nice to have you here. Very excited about your movie.
So tell us about your book, Miracle Morning, how you came about it, and how it's morphing into the Miracle Morning movie.
Yeah, into a movie. So first of all, I have to express my gratitude to both of you, and for not just having me on the show, but Robert, you've been one of the biggest advocates of the Miracle Morning. I get messages from people saying, "Hey, I'm here in South Africa, and Robert was on stage today talking about this book, The Miracle Morning, that you wrote that changed his life." And it just so grateful for your support. So thank you for that. When I handed you that self-published copy of The Miracle Morning, thinking, he's never going to read this. Who am I kidding? But, you miss all the shots you don't take, so I'll give it a shot. So The Miracle Morning started as my little morning routine back in 2008 when the United States economy had crashed, and I crashed with it. I had lost over half of my coaching clients, therefore half of my income. My house was foreclosed on by the bank. My body fat percentage had tripled, and I went into kind of a depression. And it was this 6-month downward spiral where I was looking for solutions, trying to turn my life around. And I kept coming across when I was searching that people were doing morning routines and morning rituals. Some of the world's most successful people, that was their what they swore by. But I wasn't a morning person. So I'm like, nah, what else can I do? And finally, one of the articles opened my eyes and shifted my thinking. And I went, okay, if I want to change my life, I have to change myself. I've got to become a better version of myself in order to create a better version of my life. And then I thought, well, when am I going to do that? And, it was really obvious that doing it first thing in the morning would set the tone and the context and the direction for the rest of my day. So I then Googled, what are the best personal development practices practiced by millionaires and billionaires and athletes and CEOs? Like, I tried to combine what's the best and created these 6 practices, which you know well. They're now known as the SAVERS. It's an acronym. SAVERS: silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And Robert, I often paraphrase you when I'm teaching this, and I say, Robert was interviewing me on Rich Dad Radio when the book first came out. And at the end of the interview, I'm paraphrasing what you said, but you said something along the lines of how any one of the savers will change a person's life. But the way that you've combined all 6, it really creates miracles for people, and that really is true. It's stacking these 6 habits. And so, I practiced this. Within 2 months of doing it, my life changed so dramatically, where I doubled my income in 2008 when the economy was still tanking. I doubled my income. I went from being in the worst shape of my life physically to running a 52-mile ultra marathon, and my depression went away in a matter of days. And I went to my wife and I said, sweetheart, this morning routine, it feels like a freaking miracle. She goes, it's your miracle morning. And I go, that's catchy. I like it. Miracle morning. So when my schedule every day is miracle morning, but it was never a book idea. It was never a movie idea for sure. But I started sharing it with all of my clients, and one by one, almost every single one of them went from not being a morning person to saying this miracle morning thing was now changing their life the way it had changed mine. And then that's when I felt I have a responsibility to share this with the world. And it took me 3 years. In 2012, on 12/12/12, I published the book, self-published it. Now it's been published by traditional publishers in 36 other languages and translated in 36 other languages. And about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, a good friend of mine, this leads into the movie, reached out and he said, Hal, I'm in your Miracle Morning community, and I see people sharing these profound transformations they're having from, one guy lost 90 pounds after he started the Miracle Morning, where his entire life he struggled with his weight. Now, a lot of people overcame their depression. People started all these amazing results. He said, we should create a documentary, a movie that shows people these amazing transformations people are having in their life. And I said, I love that idea. Circle back. I can't imagine. I don't even know what that looks like. I'm really busy. And he kept pinging me over the next few weeks. And finally he called me one day and he broke through my resistance. He said, Hal, what is your mission in life? And I said, it's to elevate the consciousness of humanity one morning at a time. And I knew he knew that. And he said, what percentage of humanity reads self-help books? I said, gosh, I think it's like 1%. It's pretty low. And he said, what percentage of humanity watches television, watches movies? And I got where he was going. I go, gosh, in developed countries, at least the other 99%, I would say. I guess we're making a movie. And then Robert, I had just met you. You had just interviewed me. And I said, hey, if we could get Robert Kiyosaki in the film and then name drop him, I said, he's got such a great reputation, such credibility. I said, I think that we could really get to showcase the morning routines of some of the world's most successful people. And this 6-year journey, we filmed the morning rituals of you and Kim, of Brendan Burchard and Layla Ali, Muhammad Ali's daughter, and Mel Robbins and Robin Sharma, and the list goes on and on and on. And the last thing I just want to share is, halfway through filming, I was diagnosed with a rare aggressive form of cancer. In fact, your voicemail that you left me is also in the film, wishing me well. But I was given a 30% chance of surviving, and didn't look very good. And I called our filmmaker and I said, hey, the movie's on hold. I can't believe I'm telling you this, but I actually have cancer, and I've got a 30% chance of surviving this cancer. So I've got to focus all my energy on healing. And he said, I want to film your journey, because this is going to be part of the movie. It's part of the story. And at first I was really resistant, and I'm so glad that I let him have his way, if you will, because now the first hour of the film is exactly what we intended it to be. And the final 30 minutes is a very intimate look at me and my cancer journey and fighting for my life. And I feel like what the world needs right now is a paradigm shift that says it doesn't matter what's going on in your outer world. You are in control of your inner world, and the way that you feel and the way that you think and how you act, how you show up in your everyday life isn't about what's going on around you. It's about what's going on inside of you. And I think the most important thing for all of us to do is optimize our inner world right now so that we can take control and create the outer world, the circumstances that we want. And so that, sorry, that was a long answer, but that's the movie and the book and everything in a nutshell.
Well, the outer world is a reflection of your inner world.
Yes, exactly.
Like if people right now are hurting either health-wise or wealth-wise, they lost their jobs and all that, it started on the inside. It's hard. It's easier to blame. Blame stands for be lame. Well, it's the president's fault. It's COVID's fault. It's the capitalist's fault. It's this and all that. But that's where most people are at. But
it's also, with all the negativity in the world right now and all the drama and all of the chaos, not to retreat to your inner self, but to know that you're in control of your own life. And I sit there in the morning and I'll read one of my books and it just like calms me down, gives me a perspective going, I don't participate in all that other crap.
And meanwhile, I'm yelling at the TV.
But there's something very, very powerful about knowing that you're in control of your life. Knowing that the outer stuff around you does not define who you are.
So let me say that you died for 6 minutes. You look pretty good for a dead man, but how are you doing?
What the
what
happened?
Yeah, I came back. They brought me back to life. I was clinically dead. I was 20 years old, hit head on by a drunk driver, and died for 6 minutes without, heart stopped for 6 minutes, wasn't breathing, of course. And they revived me on a helicopter flying to the hospital and brought me back to life. And I spent 6 days in a coma, was told I would never walk again. And that was my first kind of wake up call at age 20 that really shifted the direction of my life. And I decided to dedicate my life to the work that I do now, which is like, how can I use my experiences and what I've overcome to help other people realize that they can overcome anything in their life.
And what would you say when you had cancer? Have you beat that now?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with cancer a little over 3 years ago. And I just got off chemo about 4 months ago, which that was the chemo is what beats you up, worse than the cancer in a lot of ways. And so, I am cancer free. And, spoiler alert, the movie, when you're watching it, it looks like I'm not going to make it, but you now know that I did. So I'm very grateful to say that I'm cancer free.
So congratulations. And I know, you're practicing Miracle Morning and all of this. Is there something that you did differently? Why did you survive where other people don't?
Yeah, great question. I think there's two things. Number one is the day I was diagnosed with cancer and I met with this oncologist who I had never met before. I said, Doc, no offense. I know that you prescribe chemo. I said, I don't want to do chemo. I don't want to put that poison in my body. I want to cure this holistically. And he said, Hal, you don't have that luxury. I appreciate that you want to do that, but you don't have a cancer, like a slow growing tumor that you can change your diet and see how it responds. At the time I was in the hospital, I was there because my lungs were failing, my kidneys were failing, and my heart was on the verge of failing. And he said, if you don't start chemo in the next, 24 hours, you've got a few days to live, maybe a week or two at most. And I didn't know this doctor. And my wife's sitting there squeezing my hand as hard as she can and in tears. And I kind of was a little bit, I thought, he was trying to scare me into doing chemo. And so I said, hey, well, I'd like, give us 24 hours to go home and talk about this. It's a major decision. And I went home and I Googled my particular cancer and basically he wasn't exaggerating. It kills people in a matter of days, maybe a week or two. And so almost by force of hand, I felt like, well, I kind of have to do chemo. In fact, we called some of the best natural holistic doctors in the world. And they said, we cannot promise, go do chemo with your cancer. That's the best thing you can do. And so I was really resistant, but I did the chemo. But here was the big decision. The two decisions, number one was my mental, and number two was logistical. What did I do? The actions that I took. The actions were this. I decided, okay, if I have to do chemo, I'm also going to research and do every holistic practice that's available as if I were not doing chemo and it were all I was doing. So I did chemo, but I also did acupuncture and ozone sauna, and I took 70 supplements a day and organic juicing every day, and I did coffee enemas, which that's about as outside the box and difficult as it gets, but and so that was it, doing the best of both worlds. And I was in remission within a matter of a month or two, and the doctors, kind of like when I had my car accident, they couldn't believe how well I was responding to the chemo. And I kept on that. And still to this day, I don't do chemo anymore, but I still do coffee enemas twice a week. I still juice every day. I have ginger and garlic, right? I'm living an anti-cancer lifestyle, which I've been doing since the day I was diagnosed. And the second, and maybe more, or at least equally important, is unwavering faith. I made a decision that I will live to be 100 years old alongside my wife and kids. No matter what, there is no other option. And whenever I was faced with fear, I didn't dwell in that space. I went, nope, not going to dwell there. I'm going to replace that fear with faith. Whenever I was afraid, what if I die? What if I leave my kids without a dad? I would pull out my affirmation during my miracle morning, which I did every single day, that said, I am committed to living to be 100 plus years old alongside Ursula and the kids. No matter what, there is no other option. And, that mind-body connection where, here's the layman's explanation. We have 1 trillion cells or 40 trillion cells in our body. It's our little army, and they do what they're told. And if you live in fear, they manifest what you're afraid of. But if you live in faith, they manifest what you're investing your faith into. That's my, simple explanation. And that's why when I was told I wouldn't walk again, and I told the doctors I'm going to walk, and then 2 weeks later, I took my first step, and they couldn't explain it. And then with the cancer, the same thing. So for anybody listening, unwavering faith, an extraordinary effort in whatever it is in your life that you want and that you're committed to. I believe those are the two decisions that make anything possible.
Well, thank you for that, Joe. Everybody listening to this, that really is a thing. We're not saying don't do chemo. We're not prescribing medicines. We don't prescribe investments and all that. But I think we're talking about the power we all have, but it's a faith and a spirituality. So we come back, we've been going more into what a person can do to, I'd rather be preventative than reactive, if you know what I mean. And so that's what your miracle book, Miracle Morning, did for me, because Kim was already practicing, is that you start your day off calm and ready to go for the day. So we come back, we'll be talking to Hal Elrod more about his Miracle Morning movie and his book, The Miracle Morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Rich Dad Radio. I was going to say the Rich Dad Miracle Morning, but anyway. And the good news and bad news about money. You can listen to the Rich Dad Radio program anytime, anywhere on iTunes, Android, or YouTube. And please leave your review when you listen. And all of our programs are archived at Rich Dad Radio. Just go to Rich Dad Radio, look up Hal Elrod, Miracle Morning. And the reason we do that is listen to this program again. You'll gain twice as much, but more importantly, share this podcast with friends, family, and business associates and discuss it. And you'll find out your intelligence will actually grow, not diminish. Any comments, Kim?
Yes. So something that you don't know, Hal, is a friend of ours in South Carolina. We were having lunch one day, and Robert mentioned Miracle Morning, and that we didn't know much about his life. And so Robert was talking about this book. Well, a few months later, we were playing golf together, and he said, "Can we just stop for a minute? I just want to talk with you for a little bit." And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I started practicing Miracle Morning," and what he told me is he had severe, for many, 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 many years, severe depression, highs, lows, highs,
Wow.
lows, highs, lows. He's tried everything. He's done all sorts of treatments. He's very much into holistic. He said with Miracle Morning, and there was another practice he was utilizing at the time, he said those two things together have brought everything calm.
Wow.
And he said, "I'm a new person." He said, "My wife doesn't know who I am anymore, and she's very happy with her new husband." It was really quite amazing. So
that's incredible. Kim, thank you for sharing that. That means so much.
I know it does, because I know that's why you do the work.
And the other thing, too, is our medical doctor, Dr. Radha Gopalan. His story is he's from Sri Lanka, and he was in med school, and the Tamil Tigers shut everything down, just like what's going to happen in America. They're going to take care of everything. They shut everything down, and so his med school got shut down. So he went, the only school that was open was an acupuncture school. So he went to the acupuncture school to prove how phony acupuncture was. And so he signed up as an acupuncturist, and he saw religion. He says, holy mackerel. He says, the body can heal itself. And so he's our Dr. Radha Gopalan, and he's the guy who did my open heart surgery.
He's a heart transplant cardiologist. I mean, he sees both worlds.
So
Wow.
His book is a second opinion, because many doctors, as you know, are closed. It's hardcore, roach poisoning called chemo.
Yeah.
Or nothing.
Yeah.
And what you're providing is the other side of it, where it's the spiritual healing. So with that, anyway, please continue on, Hal.
Yes. So Savers, tell us about Savers, and tell us what can we do today?
So the Miracle Morning, as I mentioned, it's made up of these 6 practices, Savers, SAVERS. I'll run through these real quick. And before I run through them, I just want to say, because this question always comes up, okay, do I have to do all 6 of these in the exact order? Do I have to do them for a certain amount of time? I just want to say that what I'm about to share is completely customizable. You can do these in any order. You could do an hour-long Miracle Morning, which is what most people do. But in the book, there's a chapter called the 6-minute Miracle Morning. So really anywhere in between. And then some people on weekends will do like a 2 or 3 hour, Miracle Morning as well. So the Savers, these are the 6 practices that make up Miracle Morning, but also, as Robert said, back when you interviewed me a long time ago, these are the 6 most proven, effective, ancient wisdom, practices in the history of humanity. And they've been practiced for centuries. And most of the world's most successful people, in fact, Robert, you said every successful person on the planet before the Miracle Morning did at least one of these practices and swore by it, but you had never heard of anybody, yourself included, that had done all 6. And so the first S is for silence, and that's starting your day in meditation and or prayer time. It's quieting the mind to allow the wisdom of God or higher consciousness or your own infinite intelligence to rise to the surface. And for most people, right, most of us, if you just wake up and just go through the motions, you hit the snooze button, you wake up at the last minute, you don't have that time, then you just keep repeating the same life every day over and over, the same thoughts. You wake up, you eat the same thing, you check your phone, you're like, Robert, you watch CNN, right? And without that space
not CNN.
Yeah.
Not CNN.
Not CNN. Okay.
I don't watch the Communist News Network, but I do watch their affiliate, CNBC, but I like Fox Business better. But anyway, it just gets my blood pressure going, and then I'm pumping down 3 cups of coffee. I'm screaming at the stock market, and then I go to work.
And that's why Robert now starts his day with silence before he gets into the news. So starting your day with that meditation, the A in Savers is for affirmations. And I want to dive into this one for a minute, because affirmations are arguably...
I've heard a lot of different things on affirmations. So when you're referring to affirmations specifically,
I think that they are the most misunderstood and therefore ineffective form of personal development if you don't understand them. And so the reason is they've been taught by self-help gurus for decades to either, number one, tell yourself something as if it were true that is not yet true. Yes. In other words, lie to yourself. So if you want to be thin and you're overweight, you say, I am thin, I am thin, I am thin. But if you're not, then you're lying to yourself and you're fighting with truth. And the truth will always prevail. So lying to yourself is never...
This is exactly the problem I've had with affirmations. So thank you for this.
Yes. You're welcome. Lying is never the optimum strategy.
The scientific term is called bullshit. That's what it's called. Don't bullshit yourself.
So instead of I am statements, these are BS statements that you're talking about, Robert. So the second problem with affirmations is that we're taught to use this flowery passive language that provides a magical result, such as I am a money magnet. Money flows to me effortlessly and in abundance. Like, you guys are laughing because
I've heard it.
You built a fortune not because you're a magnet and you sat back and stared at a vision board and waited for stuff to, right?
We busted our ass.
So you were busting your ass.
I lost everything immediately.
Here's 3 really simple steps to create affirmations that are practical, that are actionable, and that create tangible results in your life. Step number 1, affirm what you're committed to. No matter what, there's no other option. You heard me reference my affirmation around cancer in the first segment. So I am committed to blank. No matter what, there's no other option. in life, we don't get what we want. We get what we are committed to. So to affirm that every day over and over, I am committed to blank, no matter what, there's no other option. That is step one. Step two is affirm why it is crucial for you. Why is it so meaningful, so important that you're going to do whatever it takes? That's the second step, to get that deeply meaningful why and affirm it every single day. And then step three is affirm which specific actions you'll take and when. So if you follow this formula, and I have this for every area of my life, as a parent, as you know, in my finances, in my business, for my impact, in my health, every area of my life follows these three steps as the foundational affirmation formula. What are you committed to? Why is it crucial for you or deeply meaningful for you? And what are the specific actions you're going to take and when? And when you use affirmations this way, you're programming yourself, you're aligning your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, and your actions to be in alignment with the outcomes that you're committed to in your life. And so again, it's not woo-woo. You're not lying to yourself. You're dealing in reality in a way that's going to move you in the direction of the things you want to create for your life.
Well, the reason that's important is because, you know, like I have Tolly on, what do you call it? Audible.
Audio.
Because anytime I'm upset, I listen to him.
Yeah.
You know, he talks about going beyond silence, go to stillness. But the other thing I became aware of is what my friend Blair Singer talks about, the little voice. I get up. I'm not even aware I'm talking to myself. And I'm saying crap to me. You know, I'm saying garbage to myself. And I get more depressed as I head to the shower and all this stuff. I'm getting more depressed because my mind is out of control. So what you're saying is the purpose of the affirmation is to take control of what you're saying to yourself. Is that accurate?
Yes. And in the simplest form, I know I just gave everybody that 3-step formula, but I want to go zoom out a little bit. In the simplest form, an affirmation is simply a reminder of what is important for you to focus on, for you to think, for you to feel, for you to believe. And so, Robert, to your point, I'm the same way. I'll wake up sometimes and I feel happy. And then as the first 10, 20 minutes, I start thinking about, I got to do this. I upset that person. I'm stressed about this thing. Oh my God, I forgot I've got 7 other things I have to do. And all of a sudden, you know, you're getting, and that's where if someone doesn't have that morning routine, where then I go to my affirmations and I read them and I go, oh yeah, it's okay. Breathe. This is who I am. This is what's important. This is what I'm committed to. And and no matter what's going on in my outer world, I can choose to be at peace with my inner world. I always say that you can be stressed out or you can be blissed out. Life's going to happen, you know, either way.
Yeah. With me, it's just to, as Kim always says, she says, how can you, I start off negative every day.
Yeah.
But I use my negativity to inspire me. But it's not a very good practice. I'm not recommending it. But so I'm doing my best to change that.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you're making great progress. So V.
So V is for visualization. And in terms of, if you're wondering, should I do visualization? Consider that if you go back to the archives of interviews of the world's most successful athletes, almost every single one of them, from Tiger Woods when he was the #1 golfer in the world to Michael Jordan or, you know, Serena Williams, they all talk about visualization, and they use visualization to visualize themselves performing at a peak and rehearse that in their mind, body, and spirit before it's game time. And the way that visualization has been taught, similar to affirmations, I think is counterproductive. We're taught to visualize just the end result, right? Make a vision board and stare at the house you want and the body you want. The problem with that is it's literally counterproductive in that you trick your mind into thinking those are inevitable outcomes. If you see it so many times, you start to think, you get numb to it. The most important part of creating those outcomes is your drive and your actions in doing so. So 2 really simple steps to effective visualization. Number 1, yes, visualize your ideal outcome because it fuels your drive and your desire to make it happen. But the most important part of visualization is the second part, which is every morning, visualize yourself engaged in the crucial activities that you must do for the day while in an optimum emotional state, and condition that. So here's an example. When I was training for an ultra marathon, I hated running. I still hate running. I was doing it to challenge myself to get out of my comfort zone physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to do something that was so far beyond what I thought was possible. Every morning I would visualize myself crossing the finish line. I actually printed a picture of the Atlantic City Marathon finish line so I could see it and feel what it would feel like to cross that finish line. And that fueled my drive and desire. But if I would have left it there, I would have felt complacent, like, wow, I can see it. I'm going to do it. The most important part was every morning I visualized my alarm going off on my phone at 7 a.m., walking into my bedroom closet, getting dressed in my running clothes, heading out the front door. And I would always see myself opening the front door, staring at the pavement and smiling and flooded with emotions of this is going to be a great run. I can't wait for this. And guess what happened? Every morning at 7 a.m. when the alarm went off, I picked it up and it was automatic. I walked into my bedroom closet, got dressed in my clothes, headed out the front door with a smile on my face. And I wasn't thinking I hate running, because that's not what I rehearsed that morning. It was that visualization. And you can apply this whether it's cold calling people or engaging with your family. Visualize yourself engaged in the ideal activities that you need to do each day in an optimum emotional state.
So how important is that smile?
Right?
If you're going, I don't want to do this.
It's the emotions that the smile invokes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going short of time. So Hal, what's next?
All right, we'll go through the last three very quickly. Exercise. You don't need to go to the gym for an hour in the morning, but you need to stretch for 5 minutes, do some jumping jacks, get your blood flowing. The R in Savers is for reading. And if you just read 5 pages a day, that's 9 200-page self-help books a year, right? 10 pages a day, you're looking at 18 200-page self-help books a year. So every morning, consider you're only one book away from learning one strategy that can transform your marriage, your health, your finances, or anything else. And then last but not least is scribing, which is a fancy word for journaling. And just every day I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. And then I look at my to-do list of 10 things and I write down the top 3 activities that if I follow through with today, it'll move the needle in my life and in my business more than any other. And those 6 practices, as my friend Robert Kiyosaki says, any one of those will change your life. When you do all 6, it truly is a miracle morning.
So anyway, thank you, Hal. But how can people sign up for the movie?
Movie, go to miraclemorningmovie.com, and we are doing a full-blown, not only is the world premiere happening on 12/12/2020, it comes with a live training. It comes with a live Q&A. You get a digital download of the movie. Like, it's a full-on package for $19.95. And if you go to miraclemorningmovie.com, go there first, watch the trailer. I'm really pleased with how the trailer came out. So watch the trailer. And then if you want to join us for the live experience, this is really the next step in my mission to elevate the consciousness of humanity, one person at a time, one morning at a time. And I'm so grateful for everybody listening.
Thank you, Hal. You keep up the good work.
Yes. Fantastic. And happy to hear you're so healthy too.
Yeah. Thank you. So run through Savers one more time. First, just spell it out again, the acronym. What does Savers stand for? Silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And we interview some of the world's most successful people like Robert and Kim in the movie to show you how they apply each of those to their own life. Yeah. And, a lot of the multi-billionaires like Ray Dalio, he says, he meditates all the time. He has a meditation place for all
Well, I remember my mom's friends when I was in college. I was in Hawaii, and they had a friend vacation, and like 4 couples got together, and there's one guy, and he's by far the most successful of this whole group of friends. By far. He was the bond trader. Yeah, he's a bond trader, and by far the most successful. He meditated every single day, and I know this because we went out to dinner one night, and he hadn't meditated that day. So before dinner, he pulled himself off to a corner in the restaurant outside, and he sat there for 20 minutes and did his meditation. So there's a lot to be said. That's some serious commitment. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Hal. Keep up the great work, and I want everybody to go check out the Miracle Morning movie. I mean, we will. And miraclemorningmovie.com. Yeah. Okay, we'll do that. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Hal. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Glad you're back from the dead. That's right. Take care. Bye-bye. And when we come back, we'll be talking about your morning enema. Kim and I will be summarizing what we do in the mornings. Okay? Thank you very much. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Good news and bad news about money. I want to thank Hal Elrod. He's a book, The Miracle Morning, and now The Miracle Morning Movie. You can listen to Rich Dad Radio anytime, anywhere, on iTunes, Android, or YouTube.
And please listen. If you want to listen to this program again, go to Rich Dad Radio. We archive all of our programs because we don't sell anything. We're not saying don't go see your doctor or meditate. We're just saying if you listen to this program again, you'll learn twice as much. And if you share with friends, family, and business associates and discuss this, especially this program with Hal Elrod, you'll learn twice as much. Any comments, Kim?
Well, I think what Hal is saying is crucial. And I know how many of us, get up in the morning and you shut off your alarm and you jump out of bed and you jump into the shower and you get some coffee and without even thinking, it's all people are on automatic. And I think what Hal is doing here with Miracle Morning is he's taking you off automatic and kind of putting you more in control of your own life.
You tap into your spirit.
Yeah, that's crucial.
And the thing I want to say about Kim is that, she was doing this long before Miracle Morning, and like our house in Pace, and you go up there because of the stream, right?
Right. I'll go up there for 2-3 days by myself, and there's a stream, and I'm in nature. There's trees all around. I find I have to be in nature. I crave being in nature because that's where I feel connected to the earth. In South Carolina, our place there is on a pond. It's with trees. There's birds. There's deer. When Hal talks about meditation, I oftentimes don't do a traditional meditation where I close my eyes and just sit. But I sit and I just look out at nature I can be there for an hour and not we're just look and see and experience and just be with nature. So I've been practicing this for many years now, and I guess the more I literally do practice. It takes practice. I mean, you don't just read and then put it down. You got to actually read and then put it into practice. And I journal and yes, yep.
So it's it is a miracle because you tap into the spirit. So with that said, I want to thank Hal Elrod. Please check out his movie, The Miracle Morning Movie, and please tap into your Miracle Morning. Thank you for listening to the Rich Dad Radio Show.